All right. So, sound should be coming through. Everything looks okay. So yeah. This is the first session of our Wednesday campaign known as Into the Red. So, for a bit of an introduction before we jump right in. Okay. There's a bit of a preface to what is to come. There are many hardships in this part of the world. Famine, plague, the never-ending cycle of violence stirred up by war and separation. In the Desolio enclave, it would seem that all of these hardships are faced at once. The civil war, rumored to have been financed by the Vrani's proxy in their backing of the solemn Corbiano, has led to all manner of strife and chaos. Families and friendships torn apart as each has chosen their side of the alliance. Plague spreading from the number of innocents slain in the hostile takeover of what used to be the beautiful and peaceful city-state of Vrana. Famine, as the ever-dwindling number of supplies is kept in a stranglehold by the Vrani's proxy. Despite all of that, though, we find ourselves a good distance away from the city of crows. In fact, we find ourselves along the coast, not far outside the city-state of Vergon. A number of travelers who have banded together to make their way into the Red Vivarium, an ancient redwood forest that in its time was a beautiful refuge for a number of wild creatures, now twisted and altered by the workings of necromantic magic. And so, as we zoom in, essentially find ourselves with these 5 travelers. Although you may think 2, depending on who you get a good look at. Traveling along a coastal dirt road. To your left, you can see the breeze, or you can feel the breeze, I should say, of the ocean wind and the smell of the salt water kind of ever present as you continue forward on your route. And as you travel, you hear the occasional squeak of the wooden wheels of the wagon, and all around you seems to be nothing but open land to your right and left. And even though you are still some distance away from it, as the sun slowly starts to set on the horizon, you can see this strange halo of almost red energy kind of permeating in the air. This is the sign that you are drawing nearer to the Red Vivarium. And so, as we come in, having met each other previously, let's see, who shall we speak to first? Okay, so you just decided something, Chester, as far as who gets introduced first. It landed on you, but if you would like to defer to your twin, then
I'll yeah, Milk has to go before me.
okay. So Maccabee, then, where would you find yourself on the cart as you continue this journey forward? And I would say it is at this time, basically, that you have now, the 5 of you, kind of noticed the red kind of halo of red energy hanging in the air. So it's finally kind of confirmed to you that you are drawing closer to your destination. So, Maccabee, where would you find yourself on the wagon? How would you be traveling alongside it? Sitting atop? Sitting in the back?
Maccabee is 100% just next to him. Like, just right next to him.
Okay, right next. So, as you sit, if you could, give a brief visual description of your character.
Okay, Maccabee, he is an Ifrit. He has skin that's as black as coal and hair like blue fire. So Should I say like a little bit about him?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me do
Just
something real quick.
like little, but everybody would know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. But
From
one
their
second.
travels.
One second. All right, go ahead.
Okay. So during their travel, everybody would have learned that Maccabee and Chester both know who previously, from their days back in Thenaeus. They have been they have been very open about being from Thenaeus, and yeah, but Maccabee and Chester are always together. They are like never seen apart from each other. And Maccabee would have introduced himself as Maccabee, of course, but he also would go by either B or Mac during their travels.
Okay. So, as you sit atop the wagon, right, drawing closer, in the time that the five of you have kind of joined together since you met at the, basically you five would have met within the city of Ragon, right? You would have met in the city of Ragon, probably near to the coast, or rather the docks, as each of you would have somehow made your way to this part of the world independently. So with that in mind, what is the energy like in the wagon? Have you all been talking a bunch? Has there been some quiet moments? What is, as you draw closer to your target, knowing that this place has somewhat of a negative reputation, is there excitement in the wagon? Is there fear for what is to come? What's the general mood? At least for Mac.
The general mood is he's there to annoy the hell out of everyone, specifically who. Though.
Okay, all right.
So he's in good spirits. He seems very unbothered by the fact that this is dangerous.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Fair enough. So, as you travel along, go ahead and give me a perception check, Mac. For a, what's that? 21 total. Absolutely. So as you're sitting atop the wagon, right, and for in this moment kind of being, I guess would it be fair to say your usual a bit annoying self, right? As the conversation in the car kind of continues between people left and right, for a moment, like a brief moment, you get this strange kind of scent on the air, like it passes by, and it's hard to place exactly what it is. And this is not a joke or anything, right? So it's not like, So, you get hit with like the strange kind of scent that just briefly passes only for a small moment. That kind of catches your attention, and maybe it stops you mid-sentence. And you have to think like, what was that, right?
Can I ask what the scent is?
So, the check makes it so you don't exactly know. But you definitely
Does it smell
something.
bad?
I would say not likely, right? It's not an immediate like a distressing kind of scent, right? It doesn't immediately kind of like fill your nose and like, give you that moment of like fear, I guess you could say, right? Or like any kind of sudden jolt towards it. It is a bit familiar, but you can't quite place it exactly how.
Okay.
And-
He could just make like a passing comment about it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
be like, who warn a guy before you do that? And like elbow. Who?
Okay. So you elbow Hoot. And I guess this is the perfect time. Hoot, if you could, give us a brief description of your character as you are elbowed by Mac.
He will just give a big sigh of exaggeration. A hoot, also known as Turbot, appears to be in his mid-40s, slightly pockmarked cheeks and the stubble ever so growing on his face now. His mid-length, unkempt brown hair and soft blue eyes. And despite his age, he does have a certain vibrance of him about him, even though that's been dampened during their travels due to Chester and Maccabee. And it's like he takes care of himself well physically, but it's just like he's perpetually sleep deprived. And he kind of wears darker shades of green leather that blend in with the forest and provide a bit of camouflage in the darker environments.
Alright. So,
I think with the cart, he would have. There would be a small excitement to him as they draw closer to their goal. Only for there to be that ever-present annoyance about him, even though he kind of knows better, but still, it gnaws at him.
fair enough. So, the gnawing annoyance, right? Kind of ever present. Maybe for a moment you were kind of lost in thought or thinking about the trip to come before you are kind of intended to be rude, Mac, or just kind of like a quick
100% intended to be rude.
Okay,
Like,
before-
totally made a joke about hoot farting.
Yeah, so you get this rude jab in your ribs.
He'll just roll his eyes a bit and be like, we the beans this time. That's got to us.
Am I allowed to respond to that?
Yeah.
Okay. Maccabee is going to like frown at them. Just be like, it's no fun when you play along.
Okay. So, this quick kind of momentary conversation between the two of you as we go down. Let's see. So, we're right back to Chester. Chester, as Mac and Hoot have kind of had this back and forth going, what have you been doing? Where is Chester on the wagon in relation to the wagon and the others?
I feel like he's right next to his brother, of course.
Okay.
But he's been, listening and just sort of laughing along with Mac's jokes.
All right. And although the visuals are similar, if you could give a brief.
Yes. So Chester and Mac are quite similar. And again, same backstory. They're both from Phineas. Chester's hair is shorter and not tied up. So you can tell them apart by their haircuts. And while God damn it. While Maccabee sometimes goes by Mac, Chester's nickname, of course, is Big Cheese. So we have our two twin brothers from Phineas, the Phinean Mac and Cheese Bros.
Oh my fucking god. Okay. All right. Okay. So, you've been kind of quiet,
I'm
but
sorry, Trill.
yeah, but laughing along, right? Enjoying the typical kind of banter and rapport between Hoot and the twins, especially. And how is Chester feeling about this travel into the Red Vivarium?
Oh, he's completely careless. He's The energy doesn't get him down, and with his brother around, they're kind of feeding off of each other with just sheer like la la la, what a fun trip this is, despite the horrors of the background. Basically.
Yeah. The rumors of what is to come, right? Whether they are founded or just attempts to dissuade people from traveling into this area. Either way, it has not dissuaded the five of you as you press forward. A mission in mind. For some of you, not all related, right? Not everything. There's not a singular goal that this group, other than making it through the Red Bavarian, is. There's not a singular goal that is shared amongst you all, other than that. So. Go one more. Okay, and.
Just like rolling me.
I know. Rose, if you could, where is Dorina in relation to the cart? And if you could give a brief description of the character, please.
I think right now she would just be sitting on one of the more comfortable seats. She would appear slightly excited, like someone going to a long-lost museum, something like that. She would be wearing like a summer dress appropriate for the weather, along with a little summer hat. That's actually kind of large, not little.
Fair enough. All right. And
oh, sorry.
Sorry, and the if there's more to the description. The energy, I guess the way Dorina is feeling about this trip into the Red Bavarian.
Yeah, I mean, she's in, like, perhaps a bit surprisingly good of a mood.
Okay. Yeah. Surprisingly in a good of a mood. Alright. So, sit on the cart, kind of listening to the banter that's happening all around between the twins and Hoot. You've been traveling for probably a couple of days at this point, and so this is not an unusual occurrence. This has happened the entire time that you've been traveling together, right? The twins especially focused on Hoot during all of this travel, which maybe thankful for Dorina to not be targeted, right, with the shenanigans and pranks.
She's next, unfortunately.
Not yet. Let's say, not yet.
Though, pretty sure Dorina's had it the nicest out of everybody.
Fair enough. All right, and so, last but not least, Nyx, if you could give a brief description of your character as well as where they are in relation to the cart, as the wagon continues to roll down this kind of dirt, dusty, almost sandy kind of road.
Well, Nyx is a slightly above average height, darker complexion. He's a sailor from Alisard and kind of was bringing people over here to help them and bring some good stuff back. He would probably, as he was helping people and protecting them, be driving the cart.
Okay.
He is very apprehensive of the environment, as from what he's heard from the locals and from the going-ons of the region.
Fair enough.
Very on guard.
All right. So, with that in mind, having to on guard, I guess, and in particular because you are leading the wagon, if you could give me a perception check. As you sit atop the wagon, kind of keeping your eyes peeled out for the road ahead, as well as All right, 12. So similar thing kind of happens for a moment as you travel along. You get this kind of faint whiff as the wind kind of picks up from not the direction of the sea, but actually kind of more inland, as the breeze kind of turns and comes back. You just smell this. It's not unpleasant, and it is familiar, but you can't quite place exactly what you're smelling because it's only like there for just the briefest of moments. And so as you're drawing and continuing to lead the wagon, how is Nyx feeling about, I guess, this sudden smell that is kind of permeating? At first, like, you hear behind you, right, like Mac, make mention of something to Hoot, and then like in this moment again, you're kind of picking up another whiff, but it's not, it's not what Mac says it is. So
Yeah.
you're starting to think that there's something to it. Yeah, you're starting to think that there's something to it.
Trying to locate where it's actually coming from, if it is from inland.
Okay.
He says out to everyone, I don't think that's him. It seems to be coming from pointing in that direction, over that direction.
Fair enough. Yeah, you kind of point off into the direction beyond. And so, I'm actually going to say that as everybody looks up to kind of look off in that general direction, in particular, Dodina and Hoot, two of you, as you kind of turn and look into the direction that Nyx is pointing to, you see in the distance, faintly, and if your eyes were less sharp, you might mistake this for like a lone kind of gray cloud hanging in the sky. But this is a cloud, like a pillar of blackened smoke, kind of hanging, recently burned. You would, based on what you're seeing in the sky, recently burned. This could be another sign of the civil war in this whole region of the world, right? The battle between the two sides that have taken kind of refuge on this island. So as the two of you kind of spot it off in the distance, that would be the impression that you get.
I think we should stay away from the smoke. Probably something not good over there. I don't know about you.
I mean, there might be some people around. I know that most of us wanted to have not really stuck around, well, people in general, I guess, but these would be some of the smaller villages, and where people live, there is perhaps some profit to be made. Or we could continue on to a journey. No skin off my back.
So, looking to specifically potentially avoid this area of the smoke, right? Just continue along the way. No point in investigating. You've got a path to follow. Does that sound about right?
That's what Nyx is thinking.
Okay.
We have our own problems.
They're just tired of hearing us ask if we're there yet.
Yeah.
So Nyx is driving a car, so.
So, all right. So, deciding to kind of avoid that region, right? Avoid that direction. And thankfully, the road that you're on continues further, pushing forward. Doesn't seem like it's going to be making its way into that direction by any means, right? So, thankfully, the path that you take now is not going to coincide with that. So you continue pushing forward. The sun in the distance continues to kind of drop. It's getting close to dark, but it's not yet time to make camp unless you want to be really safe about it. As you look around, there's plenty of open field to either side, so camping alongside of the road or finding yourself out into the field a little bit would surely work just fine without issue. You'd have plenty of views around you. But what does the cart want to do? Do they want to continue to press forward? Are you really looking to get to the Red Vivarium in good time, or do you prefer the safety of a secured campsite while you have the sun to help?
I think Mac would want to get to the Red Vivarium probably a little sooner if they could.
Yeah, we're in a hurry.
I think Hood would try and heed them to caution, just with his experience with the woods and everything, and trying to get use of the sun so we can actually get to a spot where we might be unseen instead of hurrying along.
Okay, fair enough. So yeah, with that in mind, you make use of the daylight left to aid in your setting up a decent campsite, right? And so before long, about an hour or two goes by, you continue traveling along until you find a spot that seems really nice, right? It's got a large kind of open field, but for the distance, there's a little bit of rolling hill that you can kind of set camp in, kind of close to kind of give, at least from that direction, right? You can't cover all directions, but at least from that direction, you could cover the light from the fire and all of that. And so, you settle in, each of you kind of going about your normal business when making camp. Your, sleeping bags, all of that kind of dragged out. And how do you all sleep?
Can anyone help me pitch my tent?
I can try my best.
Do you really need help
Verena's gonna
pitching
help.
your Yeah, pitching tents?
Yeah, Dorina, you should help him. He's probably better at it than us.
Well, if you two are hidden tent experts, I would encourage you to help instead.
Oh no, be our guest. You help him with that.
And then I would love to attempt to help him with that.
Okay. All right, so
Then we'll give you guys your privacy.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, not very difficult. Dorina, you assist Hoot in kind of setting up this lean-to. We're not gonna roll for pitching the tent. All right.
Oh my.
Jesus. So, but how would the rest of you sleep? Where would you choose in relation to the camp? Are you all kind of sleeping in a circle around the fire? Do people of the group want to like pull themselves away from the group a bit, or is it like strength in numbers?
Chester and Mac are very sociable, and they'd hang out right next to the fire, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, and also, can I try to steal Hoot's bedroll?
What?
I want to try and steal Hoot's bedroll.
Bedroll? You
While
want to
he's
try
distracted.
to while he's distracted?
Yeah.
Okay. I. Okay. So, while Hoot is distracted, attempting to.
Dorina's pitching his tent in.
It would have just been the tent. I would have been. I know about these antics. I've hidden my bedroom.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, you go for it. You go searching around, Mac, trying your best to locate it, but it seems like in the past few days, Hoot has become ever wise about how to handle his belongings in the company of the two twins, and so
Okay. When Matt can't find it, he's gonna give Hoot like a pat down as he's trying to like get the tent together.
fair enough. So yeah, so in the middle of it, right, Mac, you approach Hoot
Yeah.
and start to kind of, yeah, all right, go ahead.
What now?
Where is it?
Where's what?
You know what I'm looking for.
Get your own, for fuck's sake.
But the ground is hard and I want it. And he's just gonna like drape himself over Hoot as he's like, I'm assuming he's crouched down trying to like
Yeah.
get some stuff together.
He's just gonna grab onto his backpack because Hoot is a big softie. And he's gonna grab some rations and his tightly packed bedroll that he tucked away and just be like, okay, do give it back this time.
Mac is gonna take the bedroll and he's gonna hold it triumphantly over his head and be like, "Jeez, look what I got!"
Nice.
And then he's gonna run back to Chester.
All right.
Aw, Hoot, you're a great guy.
Yeah. Slowly roasting up the rations as we get the fire going.
Fair enough, yeah. So, Rose, as the group looks to make camp, you've helped Hoot with setting up his tent. You now look to your own.
So towards evening, at some point, I believe she would excuse herself to find a bit more of like a quiet place, a little bit alongside the forest, where she would just spend her night either trying to draw something or just keeping a little lookout.
Okay.
I think she still doesn't have to sleep, right? Or is that Pathfinder
It's a
not a thing?
double check. Not entirely sure how that works. The thing. We'll say it is. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but we'll say it is. Yeah, so. Okay, so you move away from the group, right? You kind of put some distance between yourself and the others, to give yourself a bit of privacy, when sleeping. And maybe over the last few nights, you've offered to take the evening watch as the others
Yep.
get a chance to sleep. Absolutely. Okay, perfect. Nyx.
Nyx would be by the fire. Seeing as Mac who brought back the bed?
Yes.
Bedroll?
Yeah.
And
You're
for the
not- you're
record,
not
Mac
giving that
already
back to
has
him, are
his.
you?
No,
It's just
I'm
in
not.
his
Of
bag.
course not.
Okay.
I like to
That's gonna
think
be an uncomfortable sleep.
Chester also has one, but I like to think that they have squeezed themselves into Hoots together.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Well, there's just sit like out in the open, like off to the side.
All right. So.
Well, good luck, Hoot. Good luck getting that back.
Oh, I definitely will at some point. No, they don't always pay attention. They don't have to know that. I still have my blanket.
Maybe by morning. And Nyx is gonna just be kind of tending to the fire and kind of bringing stuff in for it.
All right, absolutely. Yeah, so you gather up a bit, enough of wood to kind of ensure that the fire will, last through the evening. It's not very cold at night anymore. We're kind of getting out of the out of the winter feeling and into a bit more of like early spring, and so there might still be an evening here and there that is a bit cool, but for the most part, any of you would probably be fine sleeping out openly, essentially. But either way, a fire definitely doesn't hurt, as far as providing a bit of light to ensure the surrounding of the camp and to make sure that nothing sneaks up on you. So the evening kind of closes in. You all can see in the distance as the last kind of light from the setting sun kind of slowly snuffs out, and the red halo of light that kind of hung in the distance slowly dims and fades. So, you're left in the darkness of the night. The twin moons of Ekros kind of hanging in the night sky. And each of you have found your place in this camp. Dorina, you've moved away from the group, right, to do a bit of drawing. Let the others know that you'll be watching the road and ensuring that there's nothing to worry about. And so, as each of you, kind of one by one, falls into sleep that leaves, Dorina is the only one awake. So, Dorina, as you sit and kind of slowly sketch in your small notepad, right, doing as much fine detail work as you can, you hear the familiar snapping of wood, like somebody just stepped and cracked a piece of wood underneath their feet, and it immediately kind of jolts your attention up, and you kind of look around, and you have dark vision, I believe?
Yep, full dark vision.
Okay, so you can see a figure, since you've chosen a place a bit away from the camp. You see a figure approaching. As you look around and as you watch them, it seems like they are completely unaware of your presence. But they've noticed that they've made that loud sound. They've kind of looked around, kind of stopping, ensuring that they're completely still. This figure is wearing what looks to be like heavy armor, kind of weighs down on the shoulders. Even in the darkness, and although there's a bit of light on them, you can't see every detail perfectly. But you do see enough that it seems like they're injured, or at least their armor is not in the best of state. And in the other hand, they have what looks to be a large double-handed axe with a almost like a ridiculously sized blade on the axe. And they kind of hold it with one hand, not necessarily like in battle, like stance or anything like that, just kind of holding onto it. And they kind of perk their ears up and look off in the direction of the camp, like they're trying to judge what's going on in that direction.
Oh, so I would love to just observe him and see if he finds, or if he goes closer to the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And if he does, I think I would love to try and wake everybody up before he gets too close.
Okay. Alright, so as you watch and kind of observe them, they stay still for a moment, especially after breaking that wood underneath their feet and kind of letting out that loud cracking sound. They kind of stay still for a moment and just kind of look around, just trying to make sure that they didn't disturb anything. And then you'll see them start to make like slow movement closer to the camp. I will say, as you watch them, the movement is labored. It is not easy for them. There's like the context of the clothing and the armor not being in the best of shape. You get the feeling that this person is injured. They have an injury along their right side that is causing them to kind of walk a bit strange, right? They're not able to fully kind of place their weight on their right leg or right, foot as they draw closer, but they're moving at a very slow pace.
How far roughly are they away from the camp?
I'll say at this point they're probably about 20 feet away.
Okay, I think I would just walk up to him and relatively loudly say, hello, who goes there? Like loud enough to wake the others up.
Okay. So as the others sleep, so as this figure, so you're gonna attempt to approach him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like not threateningly, just kind of casually walking up.
Okay. Are you trying to do it stealthily? Like, are you trying to be quiet as you approach, or basically is the first movement you want them to know that you're there?
Yeah, I don't want to surprise him. I just want to walk up to him, basically as though I'm trying to offer him a place at the fire.
Okay. All right. So, you're coming. We'll say that you're coming probably from like the right, behind him from the right. So as you kind of step out, like hello, I'll say that the rest of you in the camp kind of hear this. Dorina said it loudly enough to kind of stir you all from your sleep momentarily, but this figure will kind of turn to you quickly. And they're not wielding it in the best of ways, but they still hold out their hand in your direction, wielding the large axe, kind of putting the blade between them and you as they look at you. Kind of stern-faced, but you can tell even at this distance that there is a bit of fear in their eyes, right? So as you kind of approach, like hello, they're even though you haven't attempted to try and kind of startle them, you've definitely startled them anyways, right? And they kind of turn quickly, on guard in a way, and they kind of look you up and down.
Well, we do not intend to harm you, friend.
He's gonna take a deep breath and kind of squint his eyes, and he's gonna kind of look around, almost like a trapped animal, right? His eyes are kind of darting left and right, ensuring that nobody else is kind of sneaking up on him or anything. And he'll kind of talk out loud. Are you with, are you part of Corbiano's forces?
I believe none of us are. I'm here for grapes.
You're here for grapes? He kind of says,
Yes,
like,
grapes.
incredulously, right? Like, what? Kind of looks around. I'll say at this point, the four of you at the camp, as Dorina and this figure in the dark kind of speak to each other. What are you guys doing?
Nyx is shaking himself awake. Hearing voices that he doesn't know kind of alerts him a little bit. He's kind of reaching out for his gill hook.
Okay, yeah. Grab a hold of it. It's where you leave it. So you kind of grab hold and start to draw yourself awake, kind of standing up, getting ready. What about the rest of you?
Chester's definitely like much more casual about this. Like, he just kind of looks over at like Nyx, just like, man, you're resorting to violence right away. Tut tut tut.
Jesus.
He just sort of like stretches like a cat, and like, because I mean, Dorina's just talking to this guy, so nothing bad's happened yet. But he does have his knife on him at all times, so
Fair enough. So
maybe he's just acting casual. Who knows?
fair enough. And Mac, Are you in the same manner as Cheese, or
He is. He's just very taking his time waking up, like leaning against his brother because they're sleeping like directly, practically on top of each other. So he's just laying his head on Chester's shoulder.
all right? And Hoot.
As he's not in a sleeping bag or anything, I think it would be quick to scramble, grab his crossbow, move up to the twins and make like a threshing motion. And as he does that, he just moves to the shadows to sort of stealthily provide cover while remaining hidden.
Okay. Yeah. So you kind of duck down into the dark, crossbow with bolt ready, maybe drawn and kind of pointing in the direction. Yeah. Okay. So, Doreen, as you look at this figure, now that they've turned to you and you've seen them a bit better in the light of the moons, the natural kind of light of the evening, they're definitely hurt. Beyond just the wound, you can see various marks, parts of their armor that has been kind of ripped and sundered away. The shoulder portion of their armor kind of fully ripped away, like no longer there. There's just the plate on the right side, but not on the left. And you smell it. The familiar iron heavy smell of blood. The wind at this moment is not whipping around, so there's this the smell kind of hangs in the air around this person.
I would kind of raise an eyebrow and ask him, oh dear, is this Corbiano responsible for all that mess?
Kind of looks around again. He's not entirely sure in this moment. His forces, yes. They raised our village not far from here. I think I am the only one to escape, but I'm not sure. I was hoping that maybe your group was a few of the others that I might know, but I guess that doesn't seem to be the case, so I'm sorry for intruding on your evening.
Oh dear, I suppose nothing to worry about. I do hope you know how to get away from here safely then. It's like, does he look like dying or is he injured?
He's injured. By the heavy scent of blood, I mean, you feel like he might be dying, right? The fact that you can smell it like so clearly. But they're not really showing it too much. So it kind of lowers the axe in your direction and kind of look around. I'll be on my way then.
Are we able to hear the conversation?
Yeah, you're able to hear it just fine. They're talking definitely at a level that is heard by everybody in the camp.
I mean, we could invite you for some food, perhaps.
Kind of stops. Go ahead. Cheese.
Oh yeah. Jester turns to Mac and is like, Mac, he has a tragic backstory. We have to help him.
Just like everybody else.
Yeah. I feel like we would get up.
Go on, Hoot, help him.
Yeah, help him, Hoot.
I think
Come on out.
With that sound and the battle axe lowering, he would come out of the shadows and appear quite closely to the person, as he is quite stealthy, and just offer up a place at the fire and offering him, I can attend to your wounds if you'd like. You appear to be quite hurt.
This figure is definitely looking suspicious, right? He kind of looks down at the leg that appears to be most wounded. He kind of thinks it over for a moment. Fine, okay. If you wouldn't mind, it would be greatly appreciated, yes. And you'll kind of reach out for your assistance, because at this point, he's kind of given over to whatever this might be. And so, he's no longer trying to fake how much energy he has available to him, right? So he kind of reaches and puts a bit of weight on your shoulder as he kind of holds himself up.
We'll help him towards the fire to at least have a place to keep warm, and then excuse himself for a moment to get his healer's kit.
Fair enough. Okay. And so, for the first time, now kind of fully illuminated by the fire, this figure appears to be they're certainly human, male. They appear to be maybe, they look young. Couldn't be much older than 22, 23. They've got like the, the first attempt at a beard, so to speak, right? Like a genuine, like, full beard, not like a teenager's beard, right? Like the genuine first attempt at it. But it doesn't fill in quite as well as it should. Short black hair, and piercing eyes. Very how to describe? Yeah, I guess like very piercing eyes, brightly colored eyes. So you just kind of drop himself down by the fire, and fully extend the leg that seems to be injured. He keeps a hold of the axe and kind of looks around at the rest of you, who are all kind of around the fire. I appreciate it, he kind of says, gives a look to you all. His eyes seem to hover over the twins a moment longer than the others, right? Almost like a confused look crosses his face for a moment, but he hides it quickly enough.
He receives a winning smile.
See.
There's no need to keep up appearances with that axe. You can put it to the side. I mean, if we would have wanted to kill you, we would have killed you. You seem quite wanted. Just take it easy for a moment. I've got some bandages here.
Kind of just nod his head then. Yeah.
We'll just we'll take out some bandages and tend to the leg to clean it up a bit, and I guess toss a few blood-stained ones to the side, and then bandage it up as best as you can.
Fair enough. Yeah. So you start to get to work on the wound, and as you look at it, there is something strange about this wound. It is not made by any weapon you are familiar with. Looking close, you would think that a wild animal did this to him. It's almost like a singular claw that dug its way in and kind of ripped at the flesh. If there is weapons that make this type of wound, it's not one that you'd be familiar with, at least. So as you kind of go and look to attend to it, there is just a chunk of meat that is pulled away, like gone entirely, and you're basically having to sew it like shut entirely as best as you can. So
This certainly doesn't appear to be anything that I would be familiar with. No army carries weapons like this. What was it that exactly attacked you, friend?
It is quite difficult to say, if I'm being honest. He kind of looks around. Actually, before we talk about that, you all don't seem local. What has brought the five of you together to this part of the world? He kind of asks, brushing aside the question, maybe a bit strangely, but kind of is pointed with that question as far as what you all are doing here, as he kind of looks around from face to face, looking for an answer.
Mac is gonna actually respond like pretty fast, and he's just gonna go. Heard there was a lot of hot girls around here.
Yep, exactly. Exhibit A, and he like points to Darina.
She would shoot you like a really angry look.
Darina's gonna get a wink from Mac too.
She would like exhale sharply before proclaiming, well, Darina Selin, I'm here to, well, as I said, look for grapes. My parents do run a winemaking business, so that's what I'm here for.
Huh. Women here are beautiful indeed. I can't help but feel that you are joking, though. Kind of looks away from the twins, and his eyesight, his eyes kind of focus in on you, Nyx.
Well, I'm here to make some money. That's what we all are for.
And speak for yourself. I'm here for the hot girls.
Well, it comes with helping people, or well, hot girls. So be it.
You mean to profit off of my people's misery, then?
If that means helping people, then yes. Everyone is always wanting something.
Is it more about helping people or helping yourself?
Ooh.
Why can't it be both?
He just kind of thinks about it. Kind of looks over to you, Poot. You are very skilled in this.
No, I'm quite a bit older than you, and have some experience in this regard, I guess. And, why does any person from a different continent find themselves in a new place, except for to find new things, new lands, more things to explore, and we've heard great things about the islands and their possible creatures. Myself, I'm quite. I like nature, although it seems that nature has not really taken a liking to you.
Yeah, that's kind of laughs to himself as he thinks it over. Yeah, it's a lot of strange things, I guess, in this this part of the world, and I guess it's yeah, why one might travel. Although I guess most people do not travel into a war zone as you five have chosen to do. But I guess it's you have your reasons.
With the state of the world, what part wouldn't be a war zone at the moment, really? It's quite a lot of things going on, even back in Phineas and Dukan. There's a lot of things have happened
Yeah.
away from this remote island.
Yeah, his eyes kind of grow big. you're from Phineas? He kind of leans in.
From around the area. I visited the town frequently enough, but yes, I am.
Wow. That is some distance to travel. I do not think I have ever met somebody from Phineas.
Well, now you met 4.
She kind of stops. Kind of looks around. You all as well?
I forget, is Nyx also
No,
from?
not.
Yeah,
No.
he is.
Oh, he
Okay,
is, okay.
well,
Right.
now then I'm
5.
gonna change that to now you met 5.
5.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were all from the city-state of Phineas. I cannot help but think that maybe then you are spies.
She would audibly laugh.
If we would be spies, we would be very bad at it, wouldn't we, having kept you at the camp?
Yeah. Kind of considers it. A strange...
We didn't even know we were all from Phineas.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, not until like 3 seconds ago.
Yeah.
We all just met coincidentally 2
Yeah.
days ago.
Yeah. But you all
actually.
happen to be from Phineas, strangely enough.
Well, I mean, I knew he was from Phineas.
Yeah.
'cause-
Hey, I'm sorry. I'm not from Phineas. I was from
Alisard.
Coast. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could
Okay.
have been there at one point.
Heard it wrong.
Yeah, you've been there though, maybe. You have connections there. Yeah, you're familiar with the city-state. Okay.
Born and then left
Yeah.
when he was a child.
Yeah.
But it counts.
This place is too cheesy, and then leaves.
Yes. So, okay. So as you kind of finish patching up the young soldier's wound, kind of looks at it, kind of looks at you. Do you think it will heal well?
I don't have a mighty big scar, but I hear the beautiful girls like it, at least so I've been told.
We could chop it off if you want.
You get the sense that this person doesn't understand sarcasm very well. 'Cause
That's okay.
Yeah, as you kind of mention that, they look at you and they give you like a sharp look.
Looking at that, Hoot will just hold up his hands to Mac and be like, no. And look back to the guy and say, it's fine. It'll heal up quite nicely. It seems that I got most of the chunks, and you should be able to bear weight on it in maybe a few weeks.
I appreciate your assistance. Unfortunately, though, I do not think I could rest the evening. I think I must continue my path. But I thank you.
Oh, he's so edgy.
And if you could also thank us by in way of a reward, perhaps. It doesn't have to be anything in the sense of a monetary value, but as we're new to the islands, we some information would do quite nicely to know the current state of things.
The current state of things. Well, everything I have known has come to a pretty swift end in recent. The current state of things, as far as I know it, is that the solemn Corbiano continues to exert his control over the island and the people of it. So innocents are being murdered en masse. Those who do not find themselves surrendering to Corbiano's control are killed. and those who fight back are obviously also killed.
Also killed. Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of killing.
Yeah.
Always these solemns.
Yeah. This one has a particular interest in twisting creatures. Foul experiments. I've never seen anything like it. I wish that the 5 of you do not, in your time on this island, as well. Kind of push himself up to his feet. Kind of reaches out and grabs the great axe and kind of will push it down into the ground, using it to like as leverage to stand up. Well, that is about as much as I can tell you. I thank you again for the help, and I wish the 5 of you the best of luck on whatever road lies ahead for you.
Try not to get killed.
You as well.
If that is all you're taking, well, do and he walks to his tent for a moment and grabs some additional rations and hands him some. It's just, Vergon is that way, and knowing a bit of the fore of politics, maybe you'll be safer there. And it should be able to last you a while if you aren't able to hunt.
Thank you. I do not mean to make my way to Vergon, but I know the direction. I am familiar with it. You people are strange. Too kind for this land.
Maybe it'll stick and actually bring some good to the land. Who knows?
Kind of laughs at that, and will take the rations from you. Thank you again, then. Fair travels. And he looks around and will just kind of give a nod and turn and essentially just kind of start to walk away. As best as he can, he's hobbling, so to speak, kind of using the axe as almost like a makeshift crutch, or like a walking stick, I guess you could call it. And he turns and he gets to the road and essentially continues on the road in the direction that you all have been traveling so far. Like he's continuing through the night in the direction that you're gonna go once you wake up in the morning.
Well, I guess we'll see him tomorrow.
I hope he makes it.
I did leave quite a trail.
Oh dear. Well, anyway.
With this, I guess, strange encounter of this, I would say this is probably the first person that the 5 of you have met that are not, at least local to the large city, right? This is probably more indicative of the people who live in the countryside around Vrana, right? And so, as he continues on, that is it for the evening. You all kind of like brush yourself away from the encounter, right? However you feel about it, however weird it was, the strange kind of nature of the person who you just kind of helped and who went along the path. So, with that, you all just kind of fall back into rest, right? As you were, so to speak. Dorina, you kind of get back to your spot, continue drawing, and you can see in the distance and in the dark, you can see the figure, the person, continuing to travel along the road, kind of hobbling along as best as they can until they kind of disappear in the distance. So the evening passes. For those of you who sleep, you wake up, mostly refreshed. It hasn't been hasn't been a difficult night other than the encounter with this individual through all of it. So whether you fall asleep back easily or if it's difficult for you, that is your choice to make. But either way, the morning comes. The day is here again. The sun hangs in the sky, and that familiar red glow is in the distance. So you all kind of wake up. Do you share anything with each other? Or do you just kind of pack up and get back on the road?
As we're packing up, I think I would like to try and steal my bedroll back.
Okay. Stealing your bedroll back from Mac. I don't know.
Mac's not gonna stop him.
Yeah, it's not difficult.
He's gonna, yeah. Just like very obviously like watching as he sneaks over.
Yeah.
To grab his bedroll.
Fair enough. Yeah, you get your stuff back, and yeah, Mac isn't looking to stop you by any means. So, anything else? Okay, so we're back on the road then. You all pack up, get your things put back into the wagon, and get back on the road, heading off in the familiar direction. As you continue on, the first thing that you all notice as you get back onto the road and look around, more pillars, columns of black smoke in the distance. It does not seem that the visitor from the previous evening, does not seem that wherever they lived was the only place to be caught in all of this chaos. You can see where you stand 3 separate pillars off in various directions, kind of billowing up, indicating whatever used to be there is no longer, having been burned and left as is. One of these pillars is in the direction that you are traveling though, and it is closer than you would think. You feel like probably in about half the day's travel, you'll have it in sight at least. So, as you witness the kind of destruction around you, you travel forward. Through the first half of the day's travel, you do not see any signs of the visitor from the previous evening. And at this point, as you kind of crest the final hill, you see down below what used to be the remains, or what used to be the buildings of a small village. It has a wooden wall on the outskirts, like on the outside of it, but the interior, just charred, blackened, and ruined wood buildings. And even from this distance, you can see a number of unfortunate souls that have been just kind of left where they fell, kind of scattered on the road in your direction, as if they were fleeing from the village. But even through the smoke, you see a few inside the village as well. To continue forward, you have to pass through this village, or you have to make a wide berth around it.
Quite curious, isn't it? I propose we just walk on through, see if there's, well, anyone needing help or something like that.
Or if they've got any gold in their pockets. You never know.
That would be morally apprehensible.
Oh, Dorina, thank you for the compliment.
I guess it's kind of a waste not, want not if they left anything behind. I mean, we provide some help, and the universe provides stuff for us.
Knew I could count
Not
on
going
you.
to stop you, but maybe there will be some alive. I don't know.
Alright, so we're going through the village.
Okay.
And checking the bodies as we go. For
Yeah.
signs of life and not money. Definitely not money.
Definitely not gold. Definitely looking to help the people of this,
Yeah.
the poor people of this village. And so, yeah, you crest down, drawing closer. You pass the first corpse. It is laid out on the side of the road. A very obvious wound dug into their back. The clothing that they were wearing fully saturated with blood, dried now from however long it's been since it happened. Past the first, the second, the third is directly in the middle of the road. You even have to kind of essentially just maneuver the wagon over it as you pass, right over on top. As the bodies start to, draw denser in number, are you jumping out of the wagon and are you checking these bodies?
Oh yeah. The twins are like, well, I don't know about Mac, but Chester's definitely like, I think it's actually really unsettling how casual they are about this whole thing.
Fair enough.
Like, genuinely,
but-
they're probably making the other people very uncomfortable. Just like humming, going through these bodies.
Okay.
But
I think he's dead.
Mac would definitely be sticking close to Chester, but not in like a just in a I want to be near my brother kind of way. But they're definitely checking the bodies.
Okay. Fair enough.
Do we find any survivors?
So, well, go ahead and give me some rolls here. Are you checking specifically to try and find like,
We're just checking their gold pouches, really.
yeah, so you're not
Not
really
gonna,
checking
like,
to see if
we're
they're
not-
alive. Yeah, you're really looking for.
Yes, we're looking for survivors, not for gold.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
more like in passing.
Fair enough. So I'll say that those who are looking for survivors roll me a medicine check, and those who are looking to be cringe, corpse stealing thieves, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I guess I'll look for survivors.
Fair enough. All right. Okay. Wow.
Great job, Dorina.
The natural 20. Okay, so we will knock out
She's
mac
looking
and
for some blood to
cheeses
drink.
first.
She has the sense for it.
So, all right. So, Chester, you're as you go through, you don't find anything. All right, these people were poor, farmers at best. Maybe it's hard to even tell what this village was, here for. So as you kind of check the bodies, either the body has been checked over already, or these people were just poor and didn't have anything to bother stealing. For Mac, though, as you check one particular corpse, you grab and kind of turn it over, and still kind of hanging off their waist is a small pouch, a coin purse, and you kind of cut it away quickly with whatever small blade you may have on you, and kind of weigh it in your hand for a moment. Just look inside. There is 6 silver pieces.
Oh, sweet. I'm gonna pocket 3 and then give 3 to Chester.
Okay, so pocket 3, take the other half, and pass it over to your twin. So,
Woohoo.
we'll then go with lowest to highest. Hoot, as you check around, checking the bodies, doing your best, all of these people have perished, right? every person you go up to check, you check for a pulse, you check for breathing, any of these things. These people are gone. Same goes for you, Nyx. As you kind of hop out of the cart and take a look at, one of the others that the others may have missed or haven't checked on. It's the same story. These people are long gone. Whatever chance they had at survival is in the past. So, for you, I guess, seeing this large number, because at this point, we'll say at this point, as you've made your way past the outskirts of the village and you've made your way into the burnt village itself, and so you've had a number of bodies to check at this point. How are you feeling about this? There's been at least 50 bodies or so that you've passed at this point. This is not an insignificant amount of people that are all dead, just kind of hanging around you. So, I guess this goes for both Hoot and Nyx. Is this concerning at all? Is this bothersome?
It is pretty bothersome. Very kind of almost sick to my stomach as
Yeah.
I kind of flip these bodies over. I'm more of using my foot to flip them over than anything. See if there's anyone that's still breathing. Not really capable of seeing if they're like fully alive or could be saved, but breathing is a good thing to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. I should say, one thing that is very apparent to the two of you, Hoot and Nyx, these people don't even look like they could have defended themselves if they had the chance. None of them are wielding weapons. None of them are wearing armor of any import. Like, had any, like maybe a little bit of like leathers, but even then it could have been just like, fashionable clothing rather than a genuine attempt at armor. These people look, like just normal people, not fighters, not warriors of any type. So, just kind of make your way to the city. Hoot, how's it for you?
I think Hoot would be used to at least some violence and death, but he would have a twinge of discomfort and going around the place looking, being very hands-on with it, checking for breathing, checking for a pulse, and if he could take the time to at least put them into a decent position, sort of to give them their last respectful bow, I guess. But he does feel a bit of anger as soon as he notices that they're all just common people who didn't even really have a chance to defend themselves.
Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. And so we get to Dorina. You go through the crowd, or rather the numerous bodies kind of laid low, with a natural 20 on this one. You go up to somebody who, at first glance, you are sure this person is gone. They're done for, right? You kind of lean in, grab them by the shoulder, and you kind of turn them over. The body has as you approach, the body has like its own blanket of some sort, right? Kind of draped over it. So you kind of go to see, get a look. But as you do so, the person turns in this moment, and immediately they're on their back, and they raise their hands to stop you from hurting them. Kind of reaching out, looking to block you from them. And they immediately kind of go into this groveling kind of state, please don't, sorry, I'm so sorry, I just I didn't want to get hurt, it's
quite all right. Please don't be afraid, I suppose. We are not the people who have done this.
oh
Are you quite okay?
they look perfectly fine. You get the feeling now, having turned the body over and seen like the blanket kind of fall. This looks like somebody who faked their way of being death, like of being dead this entire time, right? They've just been unmoving, not wanting to even take the risk. However many hours after the fact. But I need you to give me an insight check here.
Okie dokie.
And if you have, let me see.
Oh wait, how do I make an insight?
Oh, sorry. Is it fucking perception in this still? Yeah, it is. Sorry. I got caught up because I think. Sorry. So you don't have the feat for it. Okay. So then it's perception. My mistake. There's a feat called Lie to Me.
Oh, I had that last game.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Oh, only a 9.
9. I just say like, don't worry. Like we weren't the ones who did this, right? They kind of. This tense energy kind of falls. Oh, that's great to hear then. And immediately they seem kind of relaxed, which I'm gonna say is enough to kind of ping like a little bit of like a. That's a little weird, right? But then again, like they've just survived this heinous attack, so maybe they are. Maybe it's just like weird energy from them. They kind of like drop the whole like groveling act, like almost in a flash of a moment, and they kind of stand up. Well, that's great then. He kind of looks around. It's a human.
Oh, sorry, what?
So the description of this character, is a human. They kind of look at you. And as they kind of stand tall, they're a bit tall, based on their body. They look at you in particular, like their eyes kind of train in on you, Dorina, since you've been the one to kind of move them from what they were doing. And so they'll kind of stop, kind of take a deep breath. And then slightly smile. Then it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I was so worried, the attack and all of that. He just kind of brushes past it as he's speaking. I was doing my best to hide and seeing what I could do about, just keeping myself safe.
Clearly quite proficient at that. But say, do these attacks occur around here frequently?
Frequently, kind of stops and thinks. His attitude now is much more casual than you'd expect. And I'm going to say that the rest of you, even though you're off in your own kind of direction as you take a look at the bodies and the people of the city, or the small village that we're here, you see this person now kind of standing tall. He's not entirely slender, but he's of a decent enough height. Human with let's see. Sorry, I want to make sure I get this description perfect. Okay, so
are we getting weird vibes?
Definitely, yeah, you're definitely getting weird vibes.
I think okay, well, you can finish your description first.
Yeah, he's got long hair, but not like long to the shoulders, just kind of a bit grown in. He has a full beard, right? But it looks trimmed well enough, taken care of. And his eyes are dark and looks like he hasn't slept in quite a while. So as he kind of stands tall and stretches, well, very very glad to have met you all.
Chester's gonna cast Detect Magic here, kind of on the area.
Detect Magic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't get anything specific. It's just, is there magical stuff around here?
Okay. Yeah, so you don't get anything specific, but where you are, within 30 feet of you, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, you absolutely get a ping of magic back. There are two types of magic within this area: necromantic and not illusion. What's the other one? Sorry. Let's see. And evocation. So, necromancy and evocation are very much present in the space around you.
Jester will kind of nod to Mac and implying like, let's get back to the cart, and is going to approach Dorina and eventually Nyx and Hoot and sort of call them back in like a nonchalant kind of like, well, we're done here kind of way.
Oh yeah, quite indeed.
Fine, stay if you want.
Oh, she wasn't being ironic. She was actually coming along.
Oh, okay.
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 So, you're leaving so soon? I'm surprised.
I do believe it was you who said their goodbyes.
Did I? I thought I'd made my acquaintances, but it's okay. Kind of smiles. He looks to follow along, right? Like he travels along with you, kind of in stride behind you. Kind of calls out to the rest of you as you all kind of start to make your way back to the wagon. What direction do you all tend to be traveling in? Is there any way I can hitch a ride with you all, or is that too much of an ask? He kind of smiles and kind of shakes his head, like I've just barely survived this. I just want to put some space between myself and this, here.
And the poor man must have lost his whole family in this town. I mean, I'm sure we could afford that.
Our cart's pretty full, though, Dorina. You'd have to sit on your lap, and we don't want that.
Oh no, we.
No,
certainly
that's our
don't want
spot.
that.
He kind of smiles. Oh, Dorina, it's it's a good name. He kind of reaches his hand out as he continues to approach, right? Like,
Jester's gonna intercept this and shake his hand.
Great to meet you. What is your name?
Cheese.
Cheese. That's an interesting name. Your parents gave you that name?
Yes.
Oh,
My poor mother. She grew up in the slums of Thanaeus. He just keeps going on.
that's nice. Oh, wow.
All they could afford was the free leftover cheese from the friendly cheesemonger at the Thanaean Cheese Guild.
I see.
And so she named me after
Not the
after the cheese.
not the Cheese Guild of Thanaeus, the Thanaean Cheese Guild.
Well, it could have been the other one. I don't know. Mac, which one was it?
Both.
Yeah, both.
In the meanwhile, does he give off like a vibe? Who to spend his time around criminals and would like try and clock his intentions a bit and see if he has any ill intentions?
Yeah, roll me a perception check here then. Unless you have lied to me, in which case you could roll a deception.
I don't think I do. So perception at least.
It's the one thing I don't like about Pathfinder Second Edition: the lack of perception, being inside, and all of that stuff. 12. There's definitely some weird energy about this person, but you can't quite place what they're lying about or like what their aim is here. But there is something weird about the way this person is kind of interacting. And as you kind of talk, cheese about, the poor, the poor lifestyle and the Thanan, like, the poor area of Thanan, and being raised there and such. He kind of like nods along. I know that very well. I grew up in similar circumstances, although a bit further north. I'm from Brevik on the Lock continent. Are you familiar? He kind of looks around, asking.
Nope.
Not familiar with Brevik. Wow.
We heard some stories long ago.
There's been a lot of activity out there as of late. Well.
So, what brought you here into this, peculiar village?
Well, I was passing through. I'm making my way to the, somewhere. Doesn't really matter. But I found myself in this village just moments before, I guess it was attacked. And, as you see the state of it now, he kind of points around, looking. Very unlucky on my behalf. Definitely not the type of place I would have liked to have been in, or the type of thing I would have liked to experience, at least. Thankfully, I'm not too bothered too much. None of these are my people, but still, it is definitely a peculiar state to find myself in. My wagon has been stolen, as with the rest of my horses and all of that, so I am left with nothing, as you can see, and he kind of pats his body down, like, to show that he has nothing at all.
Oh, poor boy.
So a bit of a ride would help, but if you do not have the room for it, then I cannot impose, obviously.
Well, we're unfortunately going headlong into danger.
Yeah?
So you don't want to come with us anyway.
What kind of danger? He kind of looks at you.
A horrible beast has kidnapped our third brother, you see.
I see.
So we're going into its den to rescue him. Right back.
Yeah, we have like a third twin, so we're gonna go find him.
But the road behind us is completely clear.
Yeah, we took care of all the people back there for you, so it's nice and safe.
Oh, that's unfortunately, that's not the way I need to go. I need to go this way. He kind of points in the way that you would have been heading.
Well, good luck with that.
All right. Well.
I say we just take him along. It's just one man.
But then your attention will be divided and not on us all the time.
I'm sure
Jester's
you'll like that for half an afternoon.
Jester's gonna cast message here. And be like, Dorina, this guy's fucking weird.
Okay, so you cast the message.
Yeah, and is yeah.
I'm gonna say that's enough. Dorina, if you could give me a perception check here. As you're kind of clearly pushing this person away, and he kind of turns his back to you all and kind of like downtrodden in this moment, right? Kind of looking around with an 18. As he turns, he's wearing this long kind of black cloak, very much similar to the blanket that he had kind of thrown over him. But as he turns, the cloak kind of opens up and kind of billows behind him just for a moment. With an 18, you see, as you hear the words, like, this guy is kind of weird in your head from Chester. You see what looks to be like a black snake, almost like a snake made of smoke, kind of quickly curl itself around his waist before it's kind of gone as the cloak kind of drops back down. Oh well, you kind of hear him call out, his face turned away from you all. It's fine, if you don't have the room, then you don't have the room. And his tone here is much harsher. He was being a little nice, or at least like trying to like finagle a little bit. Um, yeah.
I would yell back. I'm sure we can make something work. It's quite a big carrot.
Kind of stops and looks. Slowly, kind of look over his shoulder. No, I don't want to impose. The others in your party clearly don't, want me along, and that's fine. Safe travels.
And the same to you, stranger.
You can see him kind of sigh, take a deep breath, right? You see like his shoulders kind of lift as he breathes in, and then he just kind of lets it all out. And then he'll turn back as normal as he would be. Well, he will just kind of nod as the rest of you jump in the wagon and head out. Nyx, during all of this interaction, what has been your thought on this strange person who's kind of been trying to like hitch a ride?
I was kind of curious why there was a man from Brevik in this area by himself.
Oh, do you ask that?
Not really.
No,
Just got
okay.
more thinking to myself.
Could bring a person from that far north, this far south.
By himself. That's the weird part.
Or at the very least, what he said was, these are not his people, right? So, I'd say maybe that kind of sticks with you a bit because you're thinking about like what could this person possibly be here by himself, or at the very least, the people that are dead and around are not his people. So.
Yeah.
But you don't say anything in particular. What about you, Hoot?
I'm just keeping my eye on him.
I think it would be sat to the side of the carriage, and he knows a bit of the shenanigans that the twins play. Just having that the weird vibe, he would have just had his crossbow trained to the side while just watching.
Okay, so keeping you all get back into the wagon and start to make your way through. As you pass by, as the horse and the wagon kind of stirs forward, he'll actually step out into like the middle of the street and watch the wagon leave, right? Kind of watching you all go. And he just kind of has his
goodbye.
Yeah, he just kind of has his hands kind of resting on his hips almost, right? Like before just kind of crossing them and just kind of watching you all leave. You wave. You see like the head of the figure kind of nod. And that is all. So, trying your best to get away from this strange individual that was in the middle of this, ruined village. You press forward, making your way out the opposite side of the city or the village, past the gates. Again, bodies kind of spill out from the gate itself. Right, there's various bodies and attempting to flee, kind of laid where they were. But you press onward, satisfied that looking around. If it were not for the person suddenly appearing, maybe you would have had a bit of chance to kind of explore the burned ruins. But looking to get the hell out of here because of this, strange individual kind of popping up. I'd say you're well. At the very least, you're very confident that there were not any other than that person. There were no other living bodies, right? There were no other survivors of this whole mess. So
Nyx does point out to the others to keep an eye behind them if he does intend to just follow us, then he seemed very intent on coming with us.
Maybe he thought you were really cute.
Probably.
Perhaps he just lost his entire family and didn't know where to go. And yeah, I just found all that really curious, didn't you?
There was magic there.
I mean, he was hiding among dead bodies. I think that's just peculiar.
You mean that romantic kind of magic again?
Everyone died behind him, and well, around him. He should probably go to somewhere safe that isn't where we're going.
Well, yes.
Yeah, but he
that's-
like wasn't even hurt or anything.
That's what surprised me as well. He didn't
Anyway,
really
we're in a
seem like
hurry.
part of the village, right? But anyhow.
We have to rescue our 8th brother.
Wasn't it the
Do
fourth?
you really have a? Do you
Same thing.
really have another brother? Is there another one of you?
Yeah, we have like 2 other brothers.
Oh god.
Yeah, 2.
Who told us? No.
And what are they called?
Sorry.
Well, one's Hoot Jr.
Yes, our father named him after Hoot.
As it returns to the shenanigans, he just sighs again, and while they continue on the road, but keep an eye towards the bank.
And Dorina would just seem pretty amused all around.
Fair enough. Okay, so next you take up the reins again, kind of leading the way as you draw closer to the red vivarium. The red halo that's kind of the effect that is left in the sky is brighter and brighter, right, as you draw ever closer. And I'll say at this point, as you look out ahead, you can see the tree line itself of the red vivarium. The large redwood trees, I mean, they stand massively tall. And from this distance, I mean, it's like it's almost like there's a sudden edge to the forest itself, right? Rather than seeing any of these redwood trees kind of like, you know, a lone one in the distance. It seems like, for whatever reason, that the red vivarium has a very... It stops at one point and that is it, right? So all the massive redwood trees of the vivarium almost act like a wall to the exterior of the forest itself. And so, seeing that off in the distance, Jesus Christ, seeing that off in the distance, all like this wooden structural wall, almost like it's meant to keep you out, but you can see it up ahead, and you have a chance. Rather, you don't have a chance, I should say. As you approach, that strange red hue just kind of hangs overhead, and at this point it kind of leaves like this red effect to the lighting of this area, right? It's almost like there's a, I guess the best way to put it is almost like there's a filter, you know, that you're looking through. Like everything seems to have like this red hue as you draw closer and closer to the vivarium. So, keeping eyes peeled behind you and around you, I'm gonna say it doesn't ever seem like that strange person from the village is, you know, following you at the very least. Like, you're moving so fast that there's, you know, they're not like running behind you or anything, right? They're not able to keep up.
Behind us.
Yeah. They're not sprinting behind you this whole time, and you're just
Yeah.
watching them, you know, But
the anime run.
yeah, yeah,
in his back.
yeah, yeah. But so the coast seems clear as you draw closer and closer to this this forest. And so I should ask, for the first evening's camp, sorry, the second, I guess, do you intend on making your way into the Red Vivarium and then camping, or is the goal here to maybe camp on the outside of it and then start fresh on a fresh day moving into the forest?
I think it would depend on what time it is. Like if it's like mid-afternoon, I feel like we wouldn't want to lose time.
Yeah, it's definitely mid-afternoon. Yeah. But as you, in the traditional ways of like knowing what time, like you know what time it is based on more on intuition at this point, because the traditional way of like knowing where it is, like looking up and you see the sun and all that, but the that strange like red hue that almost saturates this area in color, seems very like it kind of throws you off, like your ability to tell exactly what time it is. Like it seems like shadows are in the it's a very unsettling experience, because you're not even in the forest yet, but it seems like shadows are falling in weird ways, almost contradictory to each other, and you're not really sure why.
I do love this atmosphere here. It's really quite cozy, isn't it?
The color of romance. You falling in love with us, Darina?
I meant the air, the light.
Really romantic lighting, isn't it?
She would sigh loudly.
Mac's gonna look over at Chester and he's gonna be like, love is in the air.
It is in the air.
Jesus. Love is in the air. The fucking Naruto running. Yeah. That's yeah. So, you know it's about midway through the day. You know you'll have more light. But then again, as you look into the forest itself, it seems like these are massive trees, and the canopy up ahead is all fully interconnected, right? So even just a few steps into the forest, it is dark, to say the least. The canopy of the redwoods, all kind of laying interconnected overhead, makes this forest very dark on the interior. So
Well, good thing we've got torches, right?
It looks like we wouldn't see the sun much either way if we were to wait out today, I guess.
You really think love is causing this?
Absolutely.
Not that, or just blood.
Can I ask how big this forest is?
oh, it's massive. I mean, from this view, from this distance now, I mean, you're in for quite a bit of travel.
Yeah, I
Unless-
was just wondering about like width-wise, as opposed to like height.
Yeah, so width-wise, I mean, it seems to continue on as far as your eyes can see, right? Definitely a large forest. If you wanted to travel around it, I mean, I guess in a sense, you don't necessarily have to travel through it, right? There's open space to your right, you know, that moves further inland. So that's not an issue as far as like moving around it. To come to the Red Vivarium and to travel into it is like a choice, right? You're purposely going into this area because there's no, other than your own decision to go in, there's no forced path that way. You could easily take another path that goes further inland and just completely avoid the Red Bavaria.
Yeah, I was just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah. So, choosing to push your way in.
No
As
time
far
like
as
the present.
Yeah, no time like the present. Absolutely. So, you quickly reach the edge of the Red Bavaria, and so the trees, daunting, massive in size, looming above head. The path goes in, but very quickly seems to go wild. So, the choice to continue on a wagon is going to be a very important one here. Looking at it, you get the feeling that much further than this, I mean, if this is how it looks now, it's not likely to look any better further in. So travel will be very difficult with a wagon. So do you choose to try it?
You'll just have to.
Yeah.
You'll just have to carry us, Hoot. And Chester's gonna climb on Hoot's back.
Yep, I guess you have to carry them, Hoot.
As I always do. He's just gonna just scooting around the wagon as they're I guess they're coming to stop, but and then jumping off it for a moment and trying to have Chester just be sitting on a cart still while he just checks around the area.
Yep.
Okay.
Specifically,
that, or you could make them walk.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I mean, I guess that, or you can make them walk.
No, it's always one of the two. I just look around and see if there would be any branches or pieces of wood that have perhaps fallen from these trees, because well, quite. I guess they're quite what's the word? Unique to the area. So you just want a piece of it.
For sure, yeah, and they're definitely strange, as you see, like, a fallen branch, which, I mean, with the size of these trees, could easily be, we'll just say it's like a smaller one. The wood of the tree is like a deep crimson red, and even the pathway, as you look, further past, like more than about 10 feet into the entrance of the into the wood, there are crimson blood red leaves that just blanket the path forward, the floor. So as you grab one of these branches, these fallen branches, the wood itself is much darker than it typically is. Like, it's been stained by whatever has happened, whatever has transpired in this forest. It's definitely unique.
You know, Hoot. If we go in here, you won't be very well camouflaged anymore.
It seems that my dream would stick out a bit, although I wouldn't want to stain it red.
Well, we can always change it back. Chester's gonna cast Restyle and give Hoot a beautiful red cape covered in hearts.
Okay. So,
To show your love for us.
a beautiful red cape covered in hearts.
Yep. Yes.
A piece of clothing currently worn by your ally. I don't have a cloak.
Whatever you're wearing.
No, that's what I'm on.
Your shirt, it's fine.
A shirt.
It's your armor. Your armor is
armor.
now
Your
bright
armor.
red.
Yeah, whatever, like, the most obvious prominent piece of clothing. Also, note that it doesn't say willing. It just
Yeah,
says an
yeah.
ally.
You just, yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So,
And if you read inside the hearts, there's a one large one that just says Chester and Mac in lettering.
perfect.
Yeah.
I think with the hue that's going on and the filter we're looking through, like he's probably not even really going to notice it much at at first, at least.
At first glance. So, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So you settle the wagon. The horses, do you attempt to tie them off? Do you set them free? What's the options here?
Well, if any of
Do
you
we-
wish to ride a horse, then you can ride a horse.
I'd rather ride you.
Ooh. Oh,
I think we'll
no,
release.
thank you. But we should hide this cart. There might be people who come in after us. We can bring it like 20 feet down
It
the
just
path or
occurred to me
something.
that we could have given the card to that poor soul way back.
Then we'd have to
If
walk
we're just going to
here.
leave it here anyway.
It
It would
can
have
be
taken us
for
a
us
lot
on our
longer.
way back.
But yeah, we'll take the cart around and hide it, and probably release the horses because I feel like we'll be gone for a while.
Okay. So yeah. Release the horses. You on the wagon. Let me check something real quick. Okay. All right. So, as you pull the wagon off the path, hiding it well enough, maybe you take a few branches, right? You try to camouflage it as best as possible, and then you untie and release the horses. One of the horses bolts into the vivarium, and the other is going to go the opposite direction, out into the open plains. So yeah, one of the horses, as soon as you kind of let it free, it just, for whatever reason, like instantaneously, just as soon as it was let loose, it just rushed away from you and into the forest.
I guess we might find that one later on. But, well, it's
Maybe.
the circle of life.
Wonder what it's running toward or away from.
Maybe it has the same goal as us.
Fair enough.
Well,
Rescuing
you
its
should have rode
twin
on its
brother.
back then.
Yeah, rescuing the seventh twin.
Hmm.
Maybe it was our brother.
Could have been.
Yes, because I turned them into a horse.
You can do that, Out?
Of course I can. I'm quite magical.
Why would you do that to Hoot Jr.?
Okay.
You know I've always hated Luke Jr., so
Oh, you're jealous.
I'm just an exasperated psych.
You could turn yourself into a horse, and then we can ride you. That'd probably be easier than us both on your back.
You do know that both of you have feet, and you could pretend to be a horse if you just interlock each other. And that way you can just hobble around.
Unfortunately, I've had a tragic accident, and my legs no longer function. Chester's gonna just collapse on the ground in the dirt. You'll have to carry me through the woods.
I'll take a needle out of his healer's tool and just poke it into the leg to see if there's any movement.
Chester definitely would like wiggle a bit. Just be like,
Seems they're still moving, so you're either going to have to crawl or, I suppose, just wait for that man to pick you up.
Chester grabs Hoot's like boot and just like clings to it.
It's definitely just going to slowly walk towards the rest of the group while dragging Chester.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, as the party situates itself, ensuring that you have all that you need, you start to make your way into the forest. So, who all has dark vision?
I do.
All right, Dorina.
I think I have low light vision. Yeah, low light vision.
Low light vision. Okay, yeah, that'll help a bit. And I think that's it, right? I don't think Chester or Mac have
No, we didn't take it.
either of those. Okay, perfect. So, yeah, so
No, that's not perfect.
well, perfect for me. Dorina and Hoot, the two of you. Hoot, you less so. Dorina, you can see well enough, right? You don't need a torch or anything like that. You see, yeah, you still have the light from, because you're not too far into the forest itself. So there's still a bit of light kind of breaking through from the forest edge. But clearly, I mean, to you at least, it is quite dark up ahead. So,
Can I hold on to Dorina's hand and tell her to guide me?
sure.
Chester's still clinging to Hoot's leg.
Okay.
We're just walking like this.
You're just walking like this? You lean down, grabbing the leg, but you're standing and walking? Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. So, know that in time, at the very least, you will need some form of light to see. I would say even, because the way dark vision works, if I'm not mistaken, I believe even Dorina at some point would. Just as well you can see in bright light. But your vision in darkness is in black and white. Okay. Alright. So then that means... Fair enough. Okay. I was just making sure what dark vision means specifically. Yeah, so you can see well enough, but based on your own sight, Dorina, you know that the others are going to need some form of light to help them in the path ahead. And so, do you take lead, Dorina? Would you even?
I would definitely offer to take lead, yes, and take whoever's hand was reaching for mine.
Okay.
It was Mac.
Fair enough. All right. So you take a hold of Mac's hand, and you offer to lead at least until it comes a time where everybody's gonna need some form of light. And so you start to make your way into the wood. Can I get?
It is quite gloomy here, isn't it?
I think I've just been blinded by your beauty.
Jesus Christ. Can we get a marching order? So I have Dorina up front with Mac just behind. Where would Nyx, Chester? Oh, so Chester's holding on to Hoots. So I guess Nyx, where would you be? And then we'll place.
Try to follow Dorina as well as he can.
Okay. So I'll say you're up there close by Mac, and then we'll say that it's by logic, then it is Hoot and then Chester, based on the holding of the leg. Okay. All right. And Hoot, you can see well enough as well, right? Like you know you don't need any torches for now, but eventually you will need, right? You'll need something to help out. And so the group of you all start to make your way further into the forest. It doesn't take long before, very obvious to you all, something is very apparent. It is extremely quiet as you make your way in. There isn't the typical sounds of like birds and animals and creatures large and small. It is deadly quiet. You can hear your own breathing, right? You can hear your footsteps. As the five of you travel, I mean, you can hear each other very clearly, which is strange because this is not typically how it sounds in traveling through any type of wooded area. Typically you hear birds, you hear, creatures up in the canopy above, rather. But it is deadly quiet. It is just the five of you making noise as you make your way into the forest.
Yes. How deep through this forest do we expect we need to go?
Based on whatever information you have about the supposed sanctuary that is within the Red Vivarium, you were expecting to be traveling through here for a couple of days at least.
Okay.
Like through this super darkness, or just through the forest?
Yeah, through the super darkness and the forest. You will need torches at some point just to be able to navigate. Which I'll say that you have. To be fair, yeah.
I think it would prepare in that, knowing that some of the party wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
see
exactly.
the light, and he has torches, so he just
I have
put
5
one.
torches, yeah.
Yeah,
He
100%.
put
Yeah, I
one
have
in
a
his
few too.
backpack.
Yeah. Okay. All right, just making sure. But yeah. Even if you didn't, I would say you have them, right? I would say that you've prepared well enough with the rumor of this place that you know what you're going to be needing, at least on a basic level, to be traversing through it. So, yeah. So you continue on. For now, though, you're not deep enough into the forest that you need to crack open or crack on a torch. You've got Dorina leading, who can see quite well, and you have Hoot, who can also see pretty well, as there is still light trickling in from the forest edge. But up ahead, it basically turns into pitch blackness at a point, right? And that is the direction that you are heading. So, as you travel further still, all 5 of you roll me perception checks.
Oh god.
You
Very
there,
rough.
Dorina?
Man, that is
Very
like the
nice.
third 21 I've rolled.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay.
Damn, Chester.
Yeah. So, good rolls. So we'll start with the highest.
Good rolls looking at Arena.
Yeah. Nyx. You hear the sound of the party as it travels through the wood, right? The jostling sound of the packs, carried on the back, the weapons, the armor, the footsteps, and even like the breathing and the typical sound of the group. You hear that very clearly. What you also hear, though, every so often, not too far away from you, you hear like the sound of like something heavy hitting the ground, like a doom, doom. Almost like a large footstep of some sort is kind of being like placed against the hard ground, and it leaves like almost like a very dull drum sound. And you pick up on it, and it's to your right.
Gonna try to look over there that direction as much as he can, even though he probably can't see very far.
Yeah. Well,
It's not one of you making that noise. Oh.
Yeah, you call
it
out.
Might be time for a little bit of fire here. I'm gonna light a torch on that.
Okay.
Start to.
So you start to kind of try to reach into your pack to kind of get some sort of torch going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you pull your pack off, right? You just kind of like tell the others to stop. Dorina, with a natural 1, a critical fail. You are so focused on the path ahead that everything behind you is kind of dull, right? You're not very aware of what's happening around you, because you keep seeing something up in the distance ahead, moving in between the trees, right? Back and forth, and you just see like this, it's almost like a blur of a figure moving through, like left to right, back and forth. So you are completely caught off guard and unaware as to what is happening in your surroundings. Nix, as you've kind of called for everybody to like, I think now's the time to get a torch, right? You kind of reach down, set your pack on the ground, and you start to kind of go through it, trying your best to find a torch. Donina, you continue to move forward, but Mac, you've heard Nix, but you still feel Donina holding onto your hand and pulling you forward. But at this point, Mac, you really can't see very well.
I think Mac would actually stop, but like still hold on to Dorina's hand to get her to stop too.
Okay, so you stop.
Just because he doesn't want everyone to get like separated and everything.
Fair enough, yeah. So Mac, you stop and you kind of hold tight onto Dorina's hand, trying to get them to stop. Dorina, you continue to walk. You still feel Mac's hand on yours, and you continue to walk forward into the dark forest up ahead, continuing ahead of the group. Mac, you stopped, holding on to. So you stopped, but you're still holding on to Dorina's hand, and all is well. They've stopped, but you can't really see them. And you kind of feel at your hand, right? You kind of squeeze for a moment, and then you get a squeeze back on your own hand, and it hurts a little, Mac. Dorina is squeezing your hand very tightly right now.
Mac's just gonna go, "Are you afraid, Dorina? I'll protect you."
Then it gets harder, and then it squeezes, and now it hurts. It hurts a lot now. Mac? Yeah, we'll do it now. Roll me a fortitude saving throw. Okay. So, the squeeze happens until you hear pops in the bones of your hand. And then you have to pull away because it's too much. And so, as this is happening, for the rest of you, Hoot, who has been unfortunately bothered by Mac holding on to the leg,
Chester.
Chester, Jesus Christ, this is what's going to be the whole campaign. Hoot, bothered by
That's
Chester.
what we were hoping for.
Yeah. Hoot, bothered by Chester, kind of still gripping onto the boot. It is only now that you look up and you see that there is some long, extended, almost distended arms. One seems to have a hold of Dorina's hand. The other seems to be holding onto Max. As you look up, you see Nix leaning down, looking into his bag. You see this large figure pull itself free from the side of the forest, out and into the open. And this creature looks like a mangled mess of limbs, as the various bones of it, as it pulls itself out and into the open, it starts to stand tall like a humanoid figure, just with these massively long arms. And you hear the bones of the figure pop into place. And we're going to roll initiative, but we're going to do that next time. Next session, we'll be starting directly into combat. So, thank you all for playing. Enjoyed it very much. I'm going to go ahead and sign on the stream and everything, but I'll be back around in just a moment. So just give me a few moments and I'll be right back. So, thank you all. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. A bit of a unfortunate quicker stop than anticipated. I've had some family stuff come up, so I've got to go ahead and deal with that stuff. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back this Saturday to continue our Saturday campaign, or rather to begin our Saturday campaign. actually, we'll be back Thursday or Friday. I'm not entirely sure which, but we'll just be doing like a hangout stream, and then we'll be doing the Saturday campaign. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a good day or a good evening, depending on where you are in the world, and we'll see you next time. So appreciate it. Later, guys. Peace.